They thought the puppy had finally destroyed the living room for the last time. Then they realized what he had been trying to reach. Ilaria Prescott was a child care center director. 15 years of running a facility that handled 40 children under the age of 5, and she trusted her sense of a child the way most people trusted their pulse. She had come home that Tuesday afternoon with her 18-month-old daughter Renly on her hip, opened the front door, and walked into what appeared to be the specific afternoon that finally ended her patience with the new puppy. Onslow was 14 weeks old. He was a golden retriever from a working line, bright, sweet, catastrophically curious, and, as of that Tuesday afternoon, apparently responsible for the wholesale destruction of the living room. A large decorative pillow had been shredded. Its white polyester filling was distributed in a wide, loose cloud across the entire hardwood floor, up the sofa, across the coffee table, and into the corners of the room like a snowdrift. Bits of pillow foam, bits of ticking fabric, a truly impressive volume of material for one small dog to have produced. Onslow was in the middle of it, sitting upright, tail thumping the floor in a slow rhythm, looking straight at Ilaria with the specific, mild interest of a dog who had no idea he had done anything wrong. Ilaria stood in the doorway and closed her eyes for 3 seconds. Her husband, Calliope, who had been working from the kitchen and had apparently not been paying attention, came into the living room and said, "Oh no, how long was he alone?" 20 minutes. 20 minutes. I was on a call. Ilaria set Renly down on a clear patch of floor near the doorway and said, in the calm tone she used at the child care center when she needed to diffuse a situation, "Cal, we need to talk about the puppy." Renly, meanwhile, in the specific way 18-month-olds respond to any large, novel material on the floor, sat down in the middle of the cloud of polyester filling and began to investigate. She picked up a handful. She dropped it. She picked up another handful. Onslow came over to her. He sat down in front of her. He watched her with the specific tail-thumping happiness of a puppy who thought this was the best afternoon of his life. Ilaria was still standing in the doorway. She was making a list in her head. The list included the words "rehome" and "trainer" and possibly "boarding while we figure this out." She had built her professional life around understanding what small creatures needed. She had not, apparently, built it around understanding that puppies destroyed things. Renly picked up something small from the pile of polyester filling. She lifted it toward her mouth. Onslow moved. He was 14 weeks old. He weighed 31 pounds. He had, at that age, exactly no formal training, but he moved with the specific, fluid, decisive purpose that Ilaria, after 15 years of watching small creatures, recognized immediately as intent. He put his soft mouth around Renly's small wrist. He did not bite. He did not close his teeth. He simply held her wrist with the specific soft mouth pressure that retriever breeds had been selected for over 500 years. The pressure a working retriever used to carry an egg without breaking it. And he turned his head slowly and pulled her hand a surprise. The small object she had been about to eat fell onto the hardwood floor. Ilaria was across the room before she thought about being across the room. She scooped up her daughter. She looked at the floor. The small object was a pill. It was oval. It was pale blue. It was, she realized, with the specific, cold clarity of a person who understood what she was looking at. One of her husband's prescription blood pressure medications. She looked at the coffee table. Calliope had been taking his medications at the kitchen table that morning. He had, apparently, dropped one somewhere in the living room. It had, apparently, rolled under the decorative pillow. Onslow, in his 14-week-old catastrophic curiosity, had, apparently, smelled the pill under the pillow, and had, in the specific way a 14-week-old golden retriever tried to reach a smell, torn the pillow apart to get to it. He had not eaten the pill. He had also, when Renly picked it up and started to put it in her mouth, stopped her. Calliope, who had come back into the room, saw the pill on the floor. His face went the specific shade of gray that a parent's face went when they understood what had almost happened. Oh my God. Yeah. Ilaria, I know. She held Renly very tightly for a long moment. She did not cry. She had learned in 15 years of childcare center work that crying was for later. Right now, she needed to breathe. She looked at the puppy. Onslow was sitting on the floor beside her. His tail was thumping slowly. His soft brown eyes were on her. He looked in the specific way of very young dogs, absolutely unaware that he had just done anything remarkable. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. The pediatric toxicology hotline that Ilaria called that evening, because she wanted to be certain, confirmed that the medication in question, if ingested by an 18-month-old, would have caused a rapid drop in blood pressure that would have been serious enough to require an emergency room visit and possibly hospitalization. The veterinarian she consulted the following week, a woman named Meridian Cole, who specialized in working line retrievers, was not surprised at all. Working line Goldens are bred for what we call soft mouth response. She said it's an instinctive suppression of bite pressure that appears in some puppies as early as 10 weeks. In a well-bred working line dog, the soft mouth is applied not just to birds and objects, but to any small living creature the dog considers part of its family group. He didn't learn to do that. He was born to do that. He recognized your daughter's flock. He recognized the pill as a threat. He took the threat away from her mouth without breaking her skin. Ilaria sat with that for a long time. The destroyed pillow, not misbehavior. A search. The persistence staying near Renly. Not accident. The soft mouth hold on her small wrist. Not a bite, a retrieve. Has your dog ever done something you couldn't explain until it was the only thing that made sense? Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard. Ilaria did not rehome the puppy. She cleaned the living room. She replaced the decorative pillow. She had a serious conversation with Calliope about the location of his medications, which now permanently lived in a locked cabinet 6 feet off the ground. She signed Onslow up for a working line training program. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. Onslow is 9 months old now. He has stopped destroying pillows. He follows Renly through the house at a distance of exactly 3 feet, everywhere she goes, all day, every day. He carries her stuffed animals for her when she asks him to. He carries her sippy cup when she is done with it. He carries them with the specific soft mouth pressure of a working retriever who was born knowing what his job was going to be. Nobody had to teach him. He had known from the beginning.